Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. Tesla loses its head of manufacturing. Marchionne wants 5 facelifts in 18 months, and Honda comes out with an electric unicycle that you just gotta see. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Thursday, September 24th, 2009, and now the news. The Detroit News reports that Tesla is losing its head of engineering and manufacturing. Mike Donohue, a former Chrysler executive, is leaving Tesla to join a product development company called St. Clair Consulting. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, says with the company getting closer to finding a manufacturing plant to make its Model S, that it's a logical time for Donohue to leave. To what I say, what? Just as you face your biggest manufacturing challenge, it's logical to get rid of your manufacturing guy? Believe me, there is a lot more to the story, and we will get to the bottom of it. And maybe Chrysler will want to hire back Mr. Donohue. The Detroit Free Press reports that Chrysler is starting to hire back some of the key people it let go while going through its bankruptcy. It also says Chrysler's new CEO, Sergio Marchionne, wants facelifts on 5 different models by mid-2011, including the 2 minivans, the Dodge Caliber, Jeep Patriot, and Compass. Jaguar or Land Rover are going to have to close one of their factories in central England by 2014. According to the AFP, Jaguar's owner Tata will decide next year to close either an assembly plant at Castle Bromwich, which produces Jaguars, or a plant at Solihull that makes Land Rovers. And my guess is it's going to be Castle Bromwich, which closes because Solihull is a much newer facility. In related news, Russian automaker Autovaz, which produces the Lada, will cut over a quarter of its workforce. According to the AFP, the company will eliminate over 27,000 jobs due to the economic slump. And by the way, Renault owns a 25% stake in that company. As we reported yesterday, Honda and Nissan will start exporting out of the U.S., largely thanks to the weak dollar. Now the AP says Mercedes-Benz is moving some C-Class production from Germany to its plant in Alabama. Obviously, this did not sit well with Daimler's union, which says that moving production will cost 3,000 jobs at the plant that makes the C-Class in Germany. From the automaker that brought you Asimo and that crazy walking assist device, Honda's come up with another bizarre gadget. Think of the U3X, that's what they call it, as a battery-powered unicycle. It fits between the rider's legs and can move forward, backward, side to side, and diagonally thanks to a unique wheel design. It has a series of small motorized rollers that form one large diameter wheel. This gives the U3X the ability to move in all 4 directions. Like a Segway, the rider controls the device by shifting his or her body weight. Overall, it should weigh less than 10 kilograms, only 22 pounds, and have a runtime of about an hour thanks to its lithium-ion battery. Honda plans to premiere the bizarre contraption at the Tokyo Motor Show late next month. Contrary to popular belief, the Volt is not GM's only electric vehicle project. According to the BBC, the company is developing a small, cheap electric car for India. The General has partnered with Riva, an Indian manufacturer that sold EVs since 2001. Production is expected to begin next year, and we don't have any details yet on pricing or availability. But speaking of the Volt, when GM announced that it would get 230 miles to the gallon, people just stared in disbelief. How did GM come up with that number? We'll answer that after the break.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
Earlier this week, we did a live webcast with Tom Stevens, the head of product development at General Motors. In the course of the conversation, we asked him, how in the world did GM come up with the fuel economy number of 230 miles to the gallon for the Chevrolet Volt? Here's a clip of that conversation.
what is the procedure by which you guys came up with the 200+ mile per gallon fuel economy figure? And I understand it's EPA sanctioned. It's not something that came out of whole cloth, but I'm trying to figure out what energy equivalency or whatever was used to derive that figure.
Well, we can, if you want to get into the approach that was taken, it was merely following the procedure that the EPA shared with us. We just took the procedure and followed it. And it would go in and say how much of your time in the city do they expect that you'll be running all electric, and then what is the cost of energy in the city, and then how much of the time on the highway is all electric. And then you have different amounts electric versus running off of the engine generator. And then you run those two and you get your city and highway numbers. And you also have to talk about, how many kilowatt hours you use, et cetera. We did nothing more than follow the process. I can give you line-by-line detail of that. I haven't memorized that.
Okay.
But I did go through that before we brought forward and said this is.
I would actually like to see it, because I'm not sure that line-by-line detail has been released by the EPA, and it's just curious. And I'm not trying to throw stones at it. It's just it's an interesting number, and one would like to know where it came from.
And EPA has been trying very hard to do what makes the most sense. In other words, follow the physics of the situation. Sure. and put that out. And you have to remember
it's a difficult case, obviously.
Well, it's the first time ever, and it's a draft proposal. And I expect that there will be changes in it over time. But in general, we wanted to kind of give you a benchmark for where we were at today, and using that's why we shared the number.
As you all know, sharing that number kicked off a firestorm of controversy over the fuel economy of electric cars. And I'm sure the EPA will be refining that procedure as it gets more experience with electric vehicles. Hey, don't forget to join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for another live edition of Autoline After Hours. Peter DeLorenzo is out on the road tonight, but my guest will be Tim Luliet, the chairman of Dura Automotive, but he's someone who's been a CEO at quite a number of automotive supplier companies. Tim is clever, conversational, and really knows product. If you've never heard of this guy, you are going to enjoy getting to know him. That's tonight, live at 7 p.m. Eastern or 2300 hours GMT. And that is it for today's show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.